Unit 4, Module 3, Session 2, and it's called the Distance Challenge. In this lesson, we will learn how many meters are in a kilometer, and we're going to create a benchmark for 1 meter by attempting to walk using meter-long strides. This part we probably won't be able to do actually because we're not in the classroom. And then we will then use ratio tables to convert given distances from kilometers to meters, and together and in our math workbooks. Alright, so I want you to think back to the real-life measurements that we read from hottest, coldest, highest, deepest. We're going to talk more about length and focus on units like meters, kilometers, and miles. So, I want you to take a look at the distance challenge flyer chart that we have here on the left. I'm just trying to... There we go, sorry. So we have a run fair distance challenge, and you'll see that there are 7 races, including a 5K, a 10K, a 10-miler, an 18K, a half marathon, a 30K, and a marathon. Okay, so take a look at the distance challenge flyer chart. A kilometer is the accepted abbreviation for, so KM is the accepted abbreviation for kilometer, okay? So KM means kilometer. K is an informal abbreviation used to describe the lengths of runs. So when people say 5K, that really means a 5-kilometer run. So looking at the flyer, think about what it says about each race. A 5K, a 10K, an 18K. I want you to think about what K means for a second, and think about how long a kilometer is. We have used the prefix kilo before, kilometer. So think about that as we move on. Okay, so if we know that a kilometer is 1,000 meters, so if you didn't know that, now you do, a kilometer is 1,000 meters. How long is a 5K race? So again, if we know that a kilometer is 1,000 meters, how long is a 5K race? All right, well, using a ratio chart, if we know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, if I simply multiply by 5 and by 5, I now know that a 5-kilometer race is 5,000 meters. So a 5K equals 5,000 meters. Moving on. How many meters are there in a 10K or in an 18K race? Again, how many meters are there in a 10K or an 18K race? Well, we can use ratio tables to determine how many meters there are in a 10K and an 18K race. So first of all, if we know that 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters, then 10 kilometers must equal 10,000 meters. So to figure out how many meters there are in a 10K race, we already know that there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So we can multiply both sides by 10, and then you have 10 kilometers and 10,000 meters. And then when you look over at the 18K, it's pretty much the same thing. So to figure out how many meters are in an 18K, we would do the same thing. So we could do times 18 times 18, 18,000. Whereas you can see if you already know that it's, you already did the first step over here, you simply just do 10 or 8 more, and you'd have 18,000. So for this one, it would be 18,000 meters. And then imagine that there is a race that is a 12.5K. Okay, 12.5K. Okay, so the 12K part is pretty easy because you can simply multiply the 12 by 1,000 to get 12,000, okay? But then there's that 0.5, which is half of a kilometer. So if a whole kilometer is 1,000, then half of a kilometer is 500. So you can add 12,000 and 500 to get 12,500 meters. And you can kind of see how up top here, if 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, 12 kilometers is 12,000 meters, half of a kilometer is 500 meters, so 12 and a half must be these two put together, which is 12,500. Okay, so then how many meters are there in a 30K race? Again, how many meters are there in a 30K race? All right, well, when you think about it, it really is just 3 times longer than a 10K race. So if I know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters and 10 kilometers is 10,000 meters, if I just triple that, 30 kilometers must be 30,000 meters. Okay, so think about a 10-mile race. 10 miles is approximately 16 kilometers. So how many meters do you think that is? So again, we're thinking about a 10-mile race this time. And 10 miles is approximately 16 kilometers. So how many meters is that? All right, well, a 5K is 5,000 meters. 10 miles is about 16 kilometers or 16,000 meters. So 5 kilometers is less than 10 miles. But then again, we have 16,000 meters. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is I want you to open up your workbook, your student book, to page 148. And the page is called Which Race Was Run? You are going to need a pencil and your student book. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that chart that I showed you earlier. It says, use the distance challenge flyer to answer the questions below. Make ratio tables to show your thinking. Okay, so looking at the first question, it says, and I know it's kind of hard to see and I'm very sorry, how many meters would Kayla run if she entered the first and second races in the series? So when I'm looking at the first and second races, I'm looking at these 2 races right here, okay? So our work's gonna vary a little bit, but here's what I would do. So I want you to go ahead and do this on your paper as well, okay? So I'm gonna make a ratio table with kilometers and meters. And I'm gonna kind of split it up like this. So for 1 kilometer, we know that that's 1,000 meters, right? Okay, so if I think about the first race was 5 kilometers, right? So essentially what we're basically doing is we're trying to do a 5 km plus 10 km to figure out 15 km. So if I know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, well, I know that 5 kilometers is 5,000 meters. I know that 10 kilometers is 10,000 meters. So I know that 15 kilometers is 15,000 meters, okay? So about how many meters is that? That would be 15,000 meters. Sorry, I should have written that smaller. I apologize. Number 2, it says, how many meters would Dana run if she entered the first 4 races in the series? So I'm going to erase this circle here now. I'm going to go back to a different color. Okay. So again, how many meters would Dana run if she entered the first 4 races in the series? The first 4 races in the series. So we're kind of looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're looking at a 5K plus a 10K plus that 10 miler. Remember, that's a 16K that we talked about a little bit ago. Okay, plus an 18K. So if I think about what all of that adds up together, okay, that is 49 kilometers. Now, if I were to put that into a ratio table, just like I did a little bit ago, I've got kilometers and I've got meters. And again, I know that 1 is 1,000, which means that 10 would be 10,000. 40 would be 40,000. 9 would be 9,000. And 49 would be 49,000. 16 would be 16,000. 18 would be 18,000. I know I didn't put those two on there, okay? But our answer is, and I know it's very hard to fit it on there for me, 49,000 meters. All right, number 3. If Roberto ran 18,000 meters, which race did he run? Okay. If he ran 18,000 meters, well, he ran the 18K race. So he ran race 4. And I forgot to switch colors. Whoopsies. Okay, so I apologize. He ran the 18K race. So if I were to draw a ratio table for number 3 with kilometers versus meters, 1,000 kilometers I apologize. I am confusing all of you right now. I am so sorry. Okay, so if he ran 18,000 meters, all right, so for kilometers, it would be 1 to 1,000, right? Okay. It would be 10 to 10,000, 8 to 8,000, and 18 to 18,000. Our answer is that he actually ran a race number 4. Okay, and then finally, if Matthew ran 48,000 meters, which 2 races did he run? Well, 48,000 meters is the same as a 48 km. So race 4 is 18 kilometers and race 6 is 30 kilometers, and 18 plus 30 equals 48 kilometers. So he ran races 4 and 6. So here are our answers: 15,000, 49,000, race 4, and races 4 and 6 for page 148. On page 149, there is a workplace, which I'm not going to introduce to you right now. I may do that later, but for now, we're going to skip that. And we're going to move on to student book page 150, running longer distances. Okay, so running longer distances. It says to make a ratio table to show your thinking. Ava signed up for a race, signed up to run a half marathon, which is approximately 21 kilometers. About how many meters will she run in the race? I'm going to draw my ratio table first. So I'm going to draw kilometers on the top, meters on the bottom. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. 10 kilometers is 10,000 meters. 20 kilometers is 20,000 meters. And 21 kilometers is 21,000 meters. So, if Ava signed up to run a half marathon, which is approximately 21 kilometers, how many meters did she run? 21,000 meters for Ava. 1B, Brian will run a full marathon. About how many meters will his race be? All right, well, if a half marathon is 21,000, I still have to draw my ratio table, even if I know the answer, because it did say to make a ratio table to show my thinking. So even though I know that 21,000 doubled is 42,000, I'm still going to draw my ratio table. So I've got my kilometers and I've got my meters. Okay, and I know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. I know that 2 kilometers is 2,000 meters. I know that 40 kilometers is 40,000 meters. And I know that 42 kilometers is 42,000 meters. So my answer for 1B is 42,000, which is essentially 1A doubled. Okay? So now it says to fill in the blank with the correct relational symbol, greater than, less than, or equal to. 16 kilometers is equal to 16,000 meters. 1,800 meters and 18 kilometers. 18 kilometers is actually greater than 1,800 meters. And then 13.5 kilometers is equal to 13,500 meters. And then it says to complete the multiplication problems below. 41 times 10, well, I know any number times 10, all I do is add a 0. So the answer to that one is 410. 32 times something equals 320. Well, if I use what I knew from the first problem, I now know that if I just, it looks like there was just a 0 added, so 32 times 10 equals 320. Something times 10 equals 700. Again, that magic rule of 10. Every time I multiply something by 10, I'm essentially adding a 0, so the answer up here would be 70, because 70 times 10, if I just put a 0 on the end of 70, I get 700. For the next one, 100 times 12. Well, anytime I multiply a number by 100, I add 2 zeros, because 100 has 2 zeros in it. So if I just make a 12 and put 2 zeros, I have 1,200. And finally, something times 40 equals 4,000. Well, 40 and 40,000 or 4,000 are similar. One of them has 2 extra zeros, which means we multiplied 40 by 100. Okay. And then the last question says, is 4/5 greater or less than 45/100? How do you know? 4/5 is greater than 45/100. I know that 1/5 equals 20/100. So 4/5 equals 80/100. And 80/100 is greater than 45/100. All right. So I know that you basically did these 2 pages with me, pages 148 and 150. I would still like you to post in Seesaw both of these. So post pages 148 and 150 in Seesaw. And then we're going to move on. Oh, and actually, silly Mrs. Sanders. So I wrote it on this page when I meant to write it on this page and this page for you so that I had more room. But silly me, I forgot that I did that. So sorry about that, my friends. If you, for some reason, don't have your book, you can screenshot this page and this page. This is page 150, just kind of zoomed in. I am so sorry about that. I completely forgot I did that. And then I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So this is your homework. It's only 9 problems, okay? It's in your Home Connection book, page 81 and 82, okay? And it's multiple choice, okay? So it's which measurement is best. So So you're just going to, like, for example, number 1, it says, what is the best estimate of the height of the ceiling? So you kind of have to think about that. Inches, feet, meters, or centimeters. So kind of think about that while you're answering your questions, and you just simply fill in a bubble for 1 through 6. And then when you get to number 7, Kim was using a give and take strategy, fill in the blanks, to make the equation true. For number 8, Kevin was using the constant difference strategy, fill in the blanks, to make each equation true. Okay. And then finally, there's a challenge. Owen had 3 different kinds of stickers, and he wanted to put on paper. He put a bird sticker on every 30th paper, a sports sticker on every 50th paper, and a robot sticker on every 60th paper. Will any of the first 600 pages have all 3 stickers? If so, which pages? Okay, so that is your homework for tonight. Home Connection pages 81 and 82. Great job, everyone, and I will talk to you tomorrow.